know we're running a couple of minutes behind. I think we have all but one of the folks who's going to show up tonight. We appreciate everybody coming out and hopefully learning more about the candidates that are running for our Johns Creek City Council. The format for tonight, we're going to ask each one of the candidates, and everyone just turn off their cell phone. We'll ask each one of the candidates to open up with a statement, and we're going to try to limit that if we can to about a minute and a half. We do have a timer. Linda's going to serve as our timer, so if you'll pay attention to her. She's going to set a timer and throw a 15-second warning when it's getting close to the end. And we do have a lot of folks obviously that want to speak, and if we can all kind of abide by the timing, it'll make everybody's life a little bit easier. So we're going to open with those statements, and then after that, we've got a series of questions that we've come up with that have been dropped in the bowl, and we'll ask those to everybody on the panel, and look forward to hearing their responses. Why don't we go just straight down the row from left to right, and I'm going to apologize if I mess up names or get something wrong. This is the first time I've done a lot of y'all, so we'll start with Ms. Patty Hansen.
Thank you. It's great to see you all here. I think y'all know this is the last of the forums, so there's one thing I did want to do was thank Lynn Pennington, who I called back 2 months ago and said, hey Lynn, will you do a meet and greet with me? And this is what happens. Lynn is so involved in the community. She reached out and helped her out, so thanks for doing that. My name is Patty Hansen. I'm running for the special election Post 2, which is a 7-week seat. I think probably at this point most people know about it. What people want to know is why didn't I run for both? Why didn't I run for 2? The reason I didn't is because I thought long and hard of it, and I was honored, really honored to be asked by several people. And ultimately I decided I'd spent 10 years working and loving being part of the team that built the city of Johns Creek. It was an incredible experience. But I have a family too. I have a daughter who started kindergarten about the time I went back to work full time, and I have 2 more years at home with her. So that was that. I then really looked into the election and realized the 7-week seat had been bothering me for a very long time, that it existed. I felt it shouldn't. I felt the council should not have voted not to have a special election when the charter directs them to. It says that they shall have a special election. There have been 3 opportunities to. They waited the time they said it was financial. I think that that's why we have a charter. There are some things that you can't put finances over, and that's people's right to vote, and that is people's right to have a democracy rather than an oligarchy, and to have 7 voices when that is the charter that we fought for. That's why I'm running for this. Additionally, you have 3 meetings left. Important things happen in every city council meeting. We'll talk about a lot of those things. I feel it's very important that you have experience for those 3 meetings, because every meeting matters. Thank you.
Sir, Mishra.
My name is Arun Misra, and I'm running against Ms. Hansen. And I knew her first time when I shook her hand and said, please vote for me. And she said, I'm running against you, you don't know.
We are best friends.
I was born many, many years ago in India. I was a prodigy. I became a professor at age 19, and I taught microbiology, engineering, and many, many colleges. The last one was at Georgia Tech for 20 years. The last 30 years I've been selling insurance, real estate, mortgage, stocks, all in this community. I've lived in Atlanta for over 35 years. I've lived in Johns Creek for more than 20 years. And I'm retired. I do not need a day job to support myself. I can devote enough time for city council, and that's why I'm learning about it. My agenda is participation of a lot of minorities. It does not happen somehow. I know personally a lot of minority people of Asian, Chinese, and Korean descent from my insurance background. They are very affluent, very rich, very bright. I wish somebody would tap into that source. They don't vote, they do not come to any of the meetings. I want to get them involved, and that is one of my reasons. Second is I'm a senior citizen. So I want there should be more facilities for senior citizens in Johns Creek, which does not exist. There are many private things there, but not run by the city. Anytime I have to play badminton, I have to go to Gwinnett County. So we need 1 or more senior centers with facilities for yoga, which happens here and many other places, not badminton or other things. And of course, we all talk about traffic. The road should be widened. I'm not an expert in traffic, but that should happen. And I hope you guys will vote for me, and thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burkhalter.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming out tonight. My name is Todd Burkhalter, and my wife Jackie and I live here, work here. I've had a business here for the last 20 plus years, and we raise our family here. And my goal in running for this is to create a community, not just in the next coming months, coming weeks, or even years, but I'm looking 10, 15, 20 years out. Let's create a community that we can be proud of, that our kids are going to want to come back to, that our kids will be able to come back to at some point in the future after they return from college or whatnot. My story is such that I've grown up here in Atlanta. I grew up in DeKalb County, and when I was in the 4th grade, we moved from one side of DeKalb County to the other. And when we were, at that point in time, DeKalb County, and we moved into the Redan High School District. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that or not, but at that point in time, it was very much like Johns Creek is today. Good schools, good community, safe neighborhoods, but over time, they had very little controls over what came and went into the city. They had very little controls, evidently. I was a kid, but evidently they had no controls over what type of businesses came, what they wanted it to look and feel like. A real lack of vision. And so my goal in running is to be a voice for everybody in the community so that we don't just sit back and let complacency happen. We have to create a vision for what we want, because the unintended consequences of doing nothing are not something we want to experience. And so I want us to set a plan in place for what we want it to look and feel like, and let's make it happen. And so that's why I'm asking for your vote coming up here. If you hadn't already voted, next Tuesday. I'd love for you to vote for me in post 2, and let's create that vision together so that we don't experience some of those things that I aforementioned. Thanks again for coming tonight.
Hi there, I'm Chris Coughlin. I'm running in post 2 for the special election and the general election. I got both of them. So the reason I'm running is to reduce traffic congestion and stop the trends of overtaxation on both residents and businesses. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a research scientist and statistician by both trade and education. My wife and I moved here in 2009 for probably the same reasons you did. Community, schools, safety, church. And now we have a 3-year-old and a newborn daughter, and we're truly blessed. We love it here. However, I do want our municipal government to be more effective and efficient. And so there's a few central tenets in my campaign that I think would help policy. So first, I'd like to reduce property taxes by 20 to 25%. We've had 2 property tax increases in a row with a $54 million unallocated surplus. We're raising taxes with such a magnitude of surplus. Also, on the surplus, we need to allocate all of it but $4 to $8 million for a rainy day fund to highly prioritize traffic relief projects and parkland acquisition before we're overdeveloped. 3 is wasteful spending. I've identified about $5.5 million in operating expenses that we could cut or renegotiate without impacting service levels at all, like we wouldn't impact police, fire, nothing like that. And my final policy campaign issue would be reforming business taxes. We tax on the gross revenues, which is not conducive to small and startup businesses. It's a terrible taxation method. I'd like to convert it to a net income tax with a charter commission reform. So thank you, and again, it's Chris Coughlin, post 2, but the special election and the general election. So.
Well, my name is Jay Lynn, and I'm running for post 2, the 4-year term. And I'd just like to add that the reason that I did not run for the unexpired term is because knowing that there's only less than 2 months, I don't think that I can make a meaningful contribution to the community by running the unexpired term. And I'm a small business owner for the last 27 years, and I've been living in Johns Creek for the last 15 years. Both of my children graduated from Northview High School. And I believe in common sense governing. And common sense governing is about doing what we can, where we are, with what we have. I'm a conservative small businessman that I believe in common sense governing. And I just want to also say this, that it is hard to cover in the forum like this. It's very hard to cover every details that and issues during this short time. But I'd like for you guys to look at the core value of a candidate, that a true conservative that will execute and implement. And I have the track record in the small business world that can implement, communicate, and execute the necessary issues that we have at hand. Thank you.
Mr. Carbonell.
Thank you. I'm Carlos. I'm not running for post 2. It's a little bit too crowded. I'm running for post 5. I am a creative by trade. I am trained to look at things from every different angle and offer creative solutions. That's what I want to bring to the council, a different perspective. I haven't lived in Johns Creek for 20 years. I've only lived here for 3. I know it sounds very little, but this is home now. Actually, this is literally my home. This is the part where I bring my scout troop and my boys. This is what I want my home to be. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Nasira. Let me apologize for the tardiness. You know how it is being a mom. Someone hit my car last week, and guess where my car for the rental car, the keys for the rental car went disappearing. So it took me almost some time by the time because my other car wouldn't get started. But I'm here because I believe throughout my life I've beaten the odds. It's not easy because if you believe and you have a vision, you'll aim high, and you'll get your team to support you, and you'll sell the vision to this is where we want to go. That's what I've done throughout my life. I've changed the status quo. I questioned the authority, but ultimately it's about saving the taxpayers their money. It's about making something that works. It's about changing something that you've done the same old, and changing it and showing them that it can be done in a different way. I come from a community where girls were not really encouraged to go to school beyond 6th grade, but I broke that mold because I finished my high school, and guess what? I finished my med school, and that didn't stop me because my determination was high. Beyond that, I went to complete my master's in public health because I believed we were all looking for the magic pill. And the magic pill was where all the money was getting wasted. We were treating complications. We were giving away money for the complications to be treated than working on prevention or the proactiveness. So after I did my master's in public health, I joined Emory. And then I'm here trying to serve the community. People ask, why do you run and why are you running in Johns Creek? Because this is where I am. This is where I belong. This is where my kids belong. This is where my kids would love to go to school, are going to school, and would like to play, pray, and retire here. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Endres, and I'm running for post 5. My qualifications are, I've lived in the community for 17 years, and I've been involved through my kids, through school, through the church, through all the scout troops, the swim team, and I've known so many people in the community. I've also been attending council meetings for 6 years, and in those 6 years, I've been reviewing and understanding all the topics that have gone before the council, and I'm quite familiar with the issues they face, how the process works, and all the different topics they've talked about. And then from a career perspective, I've spent 25 years in the financial and accounting world in the private sector. And for 15 of those years, I've been in financial executive leadership. And in that leadership, I've been responsible not just for a finance department, which would have your typical department functions, but I've also been responsible for cross-departmental teams, where we're looking to do system implementations or big customer implementations. And in working on those projects, you end up working with different skill sets, different communication styles, and different personalities. And the end goal of that team is to make sure that you get there, you succeed in your project on time and with accuracy and efficiency. And so looking at the council and what faces the council, that's what the council does for leadership. I'm basically bringing in with me the 17 years of history that I have, with the 6 years of history that I have on the council, and with my leadership experience, I feel like on day one, I'll be able to start working for the citizens of Johns Creek. The issues that we want to talk about are improving real traffic flow. How can we start moving through our streets and do it efficiently, effectively, and using the dollar right the first time? And then also looking at our business community, the community of the business that are our neighbors, our small business, and making it easier for them to be able to do business by reducing their filings, by reducing the requirements, and by even making their taxes and fees more comparable with our neighboring municipalities. So that's why I'm running, that's why I feel I'm the most qualified person for this position, and I'd like to earn your vote. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Steve Broadbent. I was elected to City Council Post 6 in a special election in July of 2014, and I'm now up for re-election to a full 4-year term. I'm running because I want to make sure Johns Creek in the future offers the same opportunities to young families that are moving in today that were afforded my family when we moved here 19 years ago. We moved here with 2 young girls aged 2 and 4. They're now both in college. And this is a great place to raise them. We were so lucky to have found Johns Creek and had the opportunity to raise our children here. I want that same opportunity to be afforded to every family that moves in. I want to retain the residential character of Johns Creek, make sure we protect our good schools. Even though we don't run the schools, we can still partner with them to ensure that they maintain the excellence that they have today. In the short 15 months I've been